We're going to be making fried chicken, like a chicken fried steak, only chicken fried chicken. We're doing mashed potatoes and gravy as a side. So we've cut 10 russet potatoes, put them into some cold water. We're bringing that up to a boil. Okay. Then we got 1 inch of oil in a large skillet over here, big enough to fit all of our chicken, we're hoping. We're going to get this heating up. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Get that heating up over medium high. And then over here we have 2 eggs that we're going to need to... Okay, first let's start out with flour. We are going to need 2 cups of flour in this bowl over here. Approximately. Doesn't have to be exact. There we go. 2 cups of flour. Then we're going to need 1 tablespoon of each of these. Onion powder, or we got granulated onion, granulated garlic, seasoning salt, ground black pepper, and pure baking soda. So 1 tablespoon of each. And this also doesn't have to be exact, just approximate. A little bit more is better than a little bit less. 1 tablespoon of pepper. 1 tablespoon of seasoning salt. 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. This is going to be so good. And 1 tablespoon of baking soda. And this isn't for flavor. This is just to help it stick and get all crunchy. Okay. So before we go whisking our eggs, we're going to whisk this all together. There we go. And just set that aside. Now we're going to whisk these eggs. Oh, without making a mess. So we have, how many we got? 8 boneless, skinless chicken thighs. We're going to make sure they're all spread out nice and flat as you can. Dip them into that egg mixture. Keep 1 hand wet and 1 hand dry. Then with your dry hand, coat that into flour really well. Tap that down. Make sure you got all those little pieces on the inside. And set that on a plate while our oil's heating up. Yep. And then repeat 7 more times because we got 7 of these. Or 8 of these. Damn it. Egg. Oops. Flour. Pat it all down. Get in those cracks. And set that on a plate. Once your potatoes come up to a boil, set a timer for 12 minutes. We want these really good and soft. There you go. And then when your oil's hot enough, you just splash some water in there to make sure it sizzles. If it's not sizzling, it's not hot enough. If it's smoking, then it's too hot. And then we're going to use some tongs to put this chicken in that hot oil. There we go. Okay, we're going to fry this until it's golden brown. Chicken thighs should cook nice and even. Ooh, I think we're only going to fit 3 in a pan. Okay, once your chicken looks kind of crispy, then it's okay to grab hold of it and turn it over. If it'll let you. Oh no, don't check the breading. It's nice and easy. You want to make sure not to pull it so you don't rip that breading off of there. And I ended up sticking 4 of them in here. Okay, there you go. Doesn't that look good already? Oh my goodness. Okay, we got 6 more minutes on the chicken, or potatoes. We're going to start our oven at 225 degrees so we can keep this chicken warm while we're waiting for potatoes and gravy. Okay, then we're going to get our gravy started on this back burner here. Only my front two are the big ones, and I need the big ones on the front. But we are going to add 1 stick of butter, which is the equivalent of half cup. So half a cup of butter. We're going to turn that on, get that melting. There we go. Get a cookie sheet ready for this chicken when it comes off. We're going to stick this in the oven so that it gets nice and warm. Ooh, that's hot. Okay, once your chicken's floating, or almost floating, if it's heavy, then you'll know that it's cooked all the way through. But probably want to leave it in for just a few minutes longer just to make sure it's real good and crispy. Give it another turn over here. See how that other side's doing. Oh, get your little butt over here. Be real careful not to splash. Gosh, that looks so good. Oop, our timer is almost ready for our potatoes. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, we're going to get a strainer in the sink. The chicken looks done. I think we're good to pull it out now. Perfect. Okay, drain these off a little bit before we put them into the oven on that nice hot cookie sheet. There's our potato timer. Delicious. Okay, we'll turn these potatoes off. Get that next batch of chicken in here. That's a big piece right there. Very important to fry in a deep skillet and only fill it ever half full of oil, no matter what size it is. I'm going to drain these potatoes. We're going to leave these in the sink while we bring our butter and milk up to a boil. That way we don't get cold potatoes. So for the potatoes, turn that burner back on. And we're going to melt 1 stick of butter. And then we're going to need 2 cups of milk. Yum. I'm going to do a little pepper too. What the heck. Delicious. Okay, then we're just going to melt this. Then we're going to put our potatoes back into it once it gets warmed up. And, our butter is all the way melted now. And we're going to add 2/3 of a cup of flour. And we're just going to be using the leftover flour from dipping our chicken mixture into so that this doesn't go to waste. And yeah, it has all those yummy flavorings from the same flavoring as our chicken steak. It's going to be so good. We're going to cook and stir that for about 2 or 3 minutes after we turn the heat back up. Here we go. After you get that all smoothed out, we're going to add 4 cups of milk. Doesn't that look good? Cook and stir and cook and stir. Easy peasy. Okay, let's get that milk ready. And cook and stir and cook and stir, and almost had that heat up too high. Okay, once that's pretty well cooked through, you want it to be a little bit like a gelatin. Make sure your flour's cooked all the way. Now we're going to add in 4 cups of milk, but we're going to stir that in nice and slow in the beginning here. And then we won't get clumps. Oh, and don't spill it on your stove like I'm doing. That'd be much better. Oh my. Making a mess because it's on the back. Okay, and then we're just going to bring this up to a boil and turn it off. Then, with our same spoon here, we're going to keep stirring this so our milk doesn't scald, which might actually be good. Just enough to melt the butter, get that milk heated up thoroughly, but you don't want to really bring it to a boil. Let's get our chicken flipped over here. And then we'll give this a stir every few minutes, make sure we don't burn. Let's get our potatoes back in our pot. We are melted and steamy, and we can go ahead and turn this potato sauce, so that's what we're going to call it. Turning the potato sauce off. You want to make sure you add these in nice and slow, but you don't want to splash. Just get it really close down in there before you start. The less it has to travel, the less of a splash it will make. There we go. Okay, then we're just going to give this a little stir and just let it sit for a minute while we finish this gravy. Perfect. You don't really want to go too far away from your gravy or it will burn. You want to turn this off as soon as it comes to a boil, or it will boil over on you. Alright, now we're going to use our hand mixer to mix up our potatoes. And I'm sure you don't want to hear this, so I'm going to bleep this part out. Be right back with mashed potatoes. Yes. This is what your mashed potatoes are going to look like after you use that hand mixer. Just be really careful not to scratch your pot. Get a big old serving of mashed potatoes. Should have done some veggies with this too. But, you know, I wasn't really thinking straight. And then this is 2 cups of gravy. And my scoop is a half of a cup. So everybody's going to get plenty of gravy. Just push it in the middle like that, and then dump it out. And then you want to sprinkle some of this gravy right over the top of that chicken. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, see you guys next time. Bye.